just because we get around.
Some of the most legendary songs from the 60s, 70s, and 80s have vanished, completely erased from radio and live concerts. The music industry has tried to silence them, but the stories behind these controversial hits are even crazier than the bands themselves. From accidental scandals to full-on conspiracies, these songs disappeared for shocking reasons. Which rock anthem was wiped from history forever? And why did one band refuse to perform their biggest hit again? Welcome to Retro Rewind. Stick around, because this list will blow your mind. Lola was a massive hit when it was released in 1970, but it didn't take long for the song to spark outrage. While the story about a man unknowingly falling for a trans woman was already boundary-pushing at the time, the real reason the BBC banned it had nothing to do with its themes. It all came down to one word: Coca-Cola. The BBC had strict rules against brand mentions in songs, forcing the Kinks to rush back into the studio and re-record the track with Cherry Cola instead. But rumors still swirled that the BBC's excuse was just a cover-up for deeper discomfort with the song's queer and transgender themes. Even Ray Davies himself admitted that the lyrics were inspired by real encounters his band had with drag queens in underground clubs. Some fans even claim that Lola is based on an affair one of the band members had, a claim that the Kinks have never denied. My Generation wasn't just a song. It was a war cry for youth rebellion. But what should have been a pro-teen anthem ended up banned from multiple radio stations.
Cause a big sensation.
The reason? The song's distinctive stuttering vocal style. At the time, BBC executives feared it might offend people with speech impediments and refused to play it. But here's the twist. Roger Daltrey later admitted that the stuttering wasn't just a stylistic choice. It was partially fueled by amphetamines the band had taken before the recording session. As the years passed, The Who continued to perform My Generation. But with one big exception. Pete Townsend reportedly refused to sing it past a certain age, saying that belting out Hope I Die Before I Get Old felt ridiculous once he actually got old. The song's censorship was eventually lifted, but its rebellious energy never faded.
She says, "Hey babe, take a walk on the wild side." Said, "Hey hon."
Lou Reed's Walk on the Wild Side was a bold and avant-garde masterpiece that explored the lives of New York's underground scene. But while it became an anthem of counterculture, some radio stations quickly decided it was too much. The song's references to trans identity and sex work caused immediate backlash.
They said, "Hey sugar, take a walk on the wild side." I said, "Hey."
However, the real scandal came years later, when some LGBTQ+ activists accused Lou Reed of exploiting queer culture for shock value. Some even alleged that Reed profited from a community he never truly supported, a claim that fueled debates well into the 2000s. Others believe the song's cryptic lyrics hide even darker meanings. One long-standing rumor suggests that certain lines reference drug use and illegal activities that Reed's friends were involved in at the time. I guess cancel culture isn't something new. Tell me in the comments if these songs deserve to be censored. Anyway, moving on.
I knew when I was single.
It's rare for a song to be banned because of a brand name, but that's exactly what happened with Paul Simon's Kodachrome. The BBC refused to play it because it referenced Kodak's iconic color film, and their strict no-advertising policy forced Simon's hit into obscurity overseas. But was that the real reason? Some theorists believe the BBC's censorship had nothing to do with the brand name, but rather with the song's hidden messages. Lines like, "Everything looks worse in black and white," sparked debate.
Looks worse in black and white. Kodachrome.
With some claiming it was a critique of race relations in the U.S. Others say Paul Simon was mocking government propaganda. Whatever the case, Kodachrome remains one of the strangest victims of music censorship. Few songs in rock history are as infamous as Brown Sugar. It's one of the most recognizable riffs ever, but its lyrics? Absolutely shocking. References to slavery, violence, and explicit sexual themes made this track a time bomb waiting to go off. Over the years, Mick Jagger has expressed regret, even admitting he wouldn't write those lyrics today. But here's where things get really interesting. Some insiders claim that the song was originally meant to be about Mick's real-life affair with a famous black singer, but the label forced a rewrite to make it less obvious. Another rumor suggests that Keith Richards once refused to play it live unless Jagger explained the lyrics. By 2021, the Rolling Stones officially removed it from their setlist, likely forever.
God save the Queen. She ain't no human being.
The Sex Pistols weren't just a punk band. They were a revolution, and their 1977 anthem, God Save the Queen, didn't just push boundaries, it set them on fire. The song was released right as Queen Elizabeth II's Silver Jubilee celebrations were in full swing, and its brutal anti-establishment message caused instant chaos. The BBC banned it immediately. Major retailers refused to sell it, and even radio stations that dared to play it faced backlash. But here's where things get really weird.
God save the Queen. 'Cause tourists are money.
Some conspiracy theorists claim that God Save the Queen actually did hit #1 on the UK charts, but was secretly kept off the top spot to avoid further public outrage. Johnny Rotten later hinted that industry forces worked against them, and decades later, fans still believe the Pistols were robbed. Despite the bans, the song remains one of punk rock's most legendary and controversial anthems.
Relax, don't do it. When you wanna go to it. Relax, don't do it.
It's rare for a song to be so scandalous that a radio DJ physically rips the record off the turntable mid-broadcast. But that's exactly what happened with Relax. The song was an instant club hit.
When you wanna go to it. Relax, don't do it. When you wanna come.
But as soon as BBC Radio 1's Mike Reed realized its lyrics were way more explicit than they first seemed, he banned it on the spot. That knee-jerk reaction led to a full-blown BBC ban, catapulting the song into infamy. But did Frankie Goes to Hollywood intentionally make Relax this scandalous? Some say yes. The band leaned into the controversy, and some claim the BBC's ban was actually orchestrated by their label to create hype. Whatever the case, the track shot to #1 in the UK and stayed there for 5 weeks. Even today, Relax is still a club favorite, proving that sometimes censorship only makes a song more powerful. Do you think these songs should have been banned? Or was it an overreaction? Sound off in the comments. When Money for Nothing hit the airwaves in 1985, it was a radio and MTV staple. But despite its massive success, the song was later banned in Canada and heavily edited in the US, due to one very controversial lyric. The original version contained a slur that targeted the LGBTQ+ community, and while some defended it as satirical, others weren't buying it. The controversy reached its peak in 2011 when the Canadian Broadcast Standards Council ruled that unedited versions could no longer be aired. But here's where it gets weird. Rumors say that even Mark Knopfler himself was uncomfortable with the lyric and had originally fought against it being included. Some claim that the label pushed for the controversial line to make the song edgier. While Dire Straits never officially disowned the song, the controversy surrounding it has only grown over time, making it one of the most debated rock hits ever.
Girls. And all I really want is girls.
At first glance, Girls by the Beastie Boys seem like a lighthearted, goofy track. But listen to the lyrics, and you'll quickly see why the band later completely disowned it.
A day. There was this girl around the way. She liked my home piece and
The song blatantly portrays women as nothing more than housekeepers, and while it fit the frat boy image of their early years, the band later admitted they were embarrassed by it. In fact, rumors say that during a 1994 interview, one band member walked out when asked about Girls, saying they didn't want to be reminded of that song ever again. Another wild claim? The song was allegedly written as a joke to mock sexist rock lyrics, but it backfired. Either way, the Beastie Boys refused to perform it live after the early 90s, and today, you'd be hard-pressed to find a radio station that still plays it unedited. Few songs carry the mystique of In the Air Tonight. Its eerie atmosphere, haunting drum solo and Phil Collins' raw vocals have fueled decades of speculation.
Coming in the air tonight. Oh Lord.
But did you know it was banned from radio after September 11th? In the wake of the attacks, several stations in the U.S. deleted In the Air Tonight from their playlists, believing its dark, apocalyptic tone was too unsettling. However, that's not even the biggest rumor surrounding the song. For years, urban legends have swirled about the song's lyrics being inspired by a real-life drowning Collins allegedly witnessed. Some versions claim he watched helplessly as someone failed to save a drowning man. Others say he saw a murderer get away with a crime. While Phil Collins himself has debunked these rumors, they refuse to die. In the Air Tonight remains an iconic, spine-chilling track, proving that sometimes the stories behind a song are just as powerful as the music itself. Music has the power to provoke, inspire, and challenge society, but sometimes it also gets silenced. Whether these bans were justified or overreactions, one thing is clear. These songs left a lasting impact. Do you think these tracks should still be played, or do they deserve their erased status? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more deep dives into music history on Retro Rewind. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.